thank God that there were people in that rehab that I was in rehab with, not the counselors, not the people who worked there, but people just like me that said, hey, I've been to rehab before. Give yourself a chance, because if you go back home,
Exactly.
you're probably going to get loaded.
Everything that I had in the house, ooh, mama. After being, heartbroken and not having nothing to hold on to, you just let go of everything. Hey, yo, what's up, guys? So, today we're exploring a different topic. I'm honored to do a podcast with Will, and actually, I want to thank Manny for linking us up. Let's get into it. What's up, Will? Thanks for being here.
What is up? No problem, brother. Thank you for having me, man. How's everything going with you today?
Yeah, chilling. Sorry for that last time. I'm glad you made it. It doesn't even matter. But yeah, let's okay. Let everyone know what we're going to do. So today we're gonna have a chat about our path, and we're gonna talk a bit about drug dependency, addiction. Sorry. Okay,
That's a good word.
okay, and we're gonna talk a bit about addiction, and for sure, we'll be planning some stuff to talk about martial arts, maybe a bit ahead. But yeah, tell us about you,
Absolutely.
Will.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you who are interested in crazy stories about wild things, I think this is something that you'll have a lot of fun with. So kind of stick around and hang out with us. So yeah, so I am 31 years old and I have been sober since I was 23. So I got into this recovery thing in November of 2017. So I've been doing this for a while. And recovery is a big part of my life. I go to rehabs. I actually went to a rehab this Monday to speak with some guys and kind of share my story, share my experience. Strength and hope is what they call it. And meetings and church, and I've created this network within the AA meetings and within church. So got a lot of friends there, and other than that, bro, I'm living with my sister. I've got my little sister living with me. I'm helping put her through college. So I used to live a life to where I was absolutely dependent on not only drugs, but what other people could do for me, because I contributed nothing to any relationship in my life. So I went from that to a point where I'm at now where I can actually give back to people and help my family out a little bit. So, and I just started my YouTube channel as well. So that's kind of, I guess, a short form of my story, I guess.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool, isn't it? When we give up all of that, then stuff starts working. Life starts working, and you kind of start to get addicted to life, to good stuff.
Yeah.
Isn't it? To positivity and all that stuff.
Yeah, bro, absolutely, man. Like, so for those who don't know, like I started with marijuana, and then that kind of can graduate into worse things. It doesn't for everybody, but it did for me, right? And it got to a point for me where I truly lived to use. I lived to go out and try to find my next high. I lived for that. And now the obsession to get loaded, to get high, to drink has been lifted. I no longer feel that obsession. I no longer have that. And I absolutely do have that desire for life and to have conversations like we're having right now.
Yeah, totally get you, man. You know, I don't know if you remember, like this last time we were trying. In the beginning, I started also to going to AA and NA reunions, and
Yeah.
it felt like it was so hard for me to, because I don't know, I didn't felt like I was the same as those guys. It
Yeah,
took me a while to get that, but
for sure.
yeah, when you really start to understand, it's not what you see on the surface, and the problem that you have deep inside. Yeah, it's so it's so relatable, and actually not only with addiction but with lots of other stuff, because then it becomes like something that you can measure with almost any kind of problem that you see around you, and what you learn with it can be used in about everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me say that it was absolutely the same for me, right? Um, the recovery journey is very interesting because the suggested path that you take is go to rehab, go to AA meetings. Well, for a person that's never done that before, especially a younger person like I was 23 when I got
Ooh.
into this. It was a very hard pill for me to swallow to believe that I was like my fellows in AA. There were
Hmm.
men in there who had lost marriages, who had been homeless. I mean, you name it. And I had never been none of those things. But what I had to realize for myself is that, no, you know what? I may have never been an IV drug user. I may have never lost a marriage due to drugs and alcohol. But what we did have in common was that I was just as spiritually bankrupt as they were.
Exactly.
And we all needed a solution. We all had a similar problem that needed a solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a way, sorry, I'm going to talk a
Good.
little bit about that other stuff we already talked about the last time.
Sure.
I had a bit of difficulty getting into that stuff. For a while, I was so much into that, into the laws of the universe and all that stuff. And like I said, everything we say, every word, everything that you feed yourself with really counts. And it's like you're releasing spells, and are you putting out the good stuff or the bad stuff? So in a way,
Yeah.
it was so hard for me to try to understand that thing, that really the first thing you say whenever you're in an AA meeting or an NA meeting is, hey, my name is this and I'm an addict. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It took me such a while to get that.
Yeah, yeah. And it was the same for me. It was the same for me. My first exposure to these sort of meetings was at 16 years old. So when you're young
Ooh.
like that, again, these are just things it's just a really tough pill to swallow. It's very hard to accept and it's very hard to believe in. But ultimately, what it took for me was going out and doing a little bit more, let's just say, experimenting to see the exact manner of person that I was when it came to drugs and alcohol. And then after drugs and alcohol had thoroughly whipped my butt, I was finally able to come back in and say, you know what? The first step here is admitting what the problem is so that I can find the solution. The problem is that I just can't drink or use drugs like a normal person. I go on these sprees, I go on binges. So I must be an addict, alcoholic, whatever it may be. And because of that, because of admitting that fact, I'm now liberated.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess we can get into my story a little bit. I won't go into the full thing, but I'll give enough detail to where people can actually grasp just how deep into the claws of addiction I was really in, so that you can kind of see just how crazy it is for me to be where I'm at now. So like I said, I got sober in 2017, and it took a very long time for me to even realize that I had an issue. I always believed that I could quit whenever I wanted to quit. I had been in several fights. I had been jumped. I had overdosed. I had almost died in the hospital. And none of those things were enough to even make me consider that I might have a problem. It wasn't until I had lost another job, because I couldn't keep a job while I was getting loaded. I just couldn't. I had lost a job working at a car wash, and it had absolutely destroyed me. I had no confidence left. I began to sell TVs from my grandmother's house, selling my game consoles, and everything that I sold added another blow to my confidence. And I didn't know what my purpose in life was, but I knew that it couldn't be that. So ultimately, it got to a really dark place where, I basically ran out of money and I ran out of hope, and I just wanted something different. And I was willing to go seek help. So I went to treatment. I went to rehab out in North Georgia, out out in the States. And then from there, they began to talk to me about sober living, which is kind of like a halfway house. And I was not a big fan of that idea. I'm going to be honest. I wanted to go back home and, nobody wants this long-term commitment sort of stuff.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sober living was a suggested 3 to 6 months. Well, thank God that there were people in that rehab that I was in rehab with, not the counselors, not the people who worked there, but people just like me that said, hey, I've been to rehab before. Give yourself a chance, because if you go back home,
Exactly.
you're probably going to get loaded. Give yourself a chance. And I took that to heart, and so I did. So from there, I completed the treatment center in Georgia, and then I flew out to Southern California in Orange County, and I went to a halfway house out there where I stayed for several years. And I tell people all the time, I was 23 when I left Louisiana, but I was still a little boy. I became a man in California, and I thank God, I was able to grow and able to meet people and able to do some really hard work on the inside through therapy, through these meetings, through working with a sponsor. I mean, you name it. A lot of things, church, and a lot of opportunities opened up for me. I found out that, hey, when I sober up and work on myself, I am a good family member. I am a good employee. I am a person of my word, and I don't have to do those things that I used to do. And about a year ago, I moved back to Louisiana, bought a house, and as I mentioned earlier, I've got my little sister living with me. I'm putting her through college. I mean, it's just, it's crazy, bro, because the way I was going, I would have never been able to leave my grandmother's house. I would have probably died in her back bedroom because I would have never been responsible enough to have anything of my own.
I totally get you, yeah. But it's, like you were just saying, the fact that you give yourself a chance, and then bits by bits, you notice that you're growing, and then you're always willing to see if you can carry a bit more weight, and usually it works out, and it rebuilds your trust, isn't it? So let me tell you about my story. Mine can be a bit heavier. I have those holes in my memory, but we'll see if I can remember. Let me just explain this. I'm gonna say all the way till this. I don't know if you saw that video where I wake up in the hospital and thought, oh, I messed up again, and after coming out of a coma and all of that, and lost my memory and all that stuff. But at the end, I realized, oh my God, I didn't do any of that after all, because when my test came out, but it's kind of scary. So I'm starting with the end because I can relate those bits, but it's not like it wasn't a problem after all. But it's something people talk about this stuff. It's health problems that come later in life or whatever. It might be, I'm not sure of it, because I know there are healthy people in their 40s having strokes too. But yeah, nonetheless. So I had a bit of a problem because I was a musician for lots of years, and I started as a kid playing guitar, and so here's the problem. Every friend that I made, every legend or guy I would look up to, everyone I wanted to be as, or wanted to be like, were a drug addict. So there was this romanticizing of addiction,
Yeah, sure.
I remember first time I tried something heavy. I was already smoking. I try not to say those names and not getting in trouble. And then I tried something harder with the drummer. And actually, I felt kind of sick. And I thought, oh, all right, and that's not for me. But I felt like, oh yeah, that's oh, I'm a rock star now and all that stuff. So almost a year ahead, that same guy took me out, and I don't know, we went in his car and parked somewhere, and he started doing some crazy stuff right in front of me, and he invited me. Yeah, all right, but he took me to a neighborhood where we came out to this. It was a couple, and I guess that was kind of usual to him. So he knew what to ask, and they would go and get it for both of them, for him. Because and when he would leave, you'll leave something to them, all that stuff. And I don't know, but it was just one more layer to the stuff of getting me comfortable with something that, in the beginning, for me, it was looking kind of too weird. All right. But yeah, none of that stuff really got me in trouble. But then I started a relationship with a girl that already tried a few times. Let me just warn everyone that toxic relationships are a hell of a problem in these situations. And
Absolutely.
so for me, to get deeper in it, especially this way, oh my God. And yeah, man, yeah, I don't know how, but she got me into it. I accepted it to kind of try it with her. Try it. It wasn't my first time, but to try to do it with her, it was kind of different. All right, it's my girlfriend. Let's try it. And here's the problem. We were in a relationship for 7 years. It was my longest
Wow.
relationship to the day. So yeah, being both of us in this situation, you can imagine. Uh, it took me a long time to solve that stuff. And the worst of it, when you go through all of those years with a problem, then when you want to solve it, it's not that easy. And so
Right.
after coming out, I relapsed a couple of times, and yeah, and even had other relationships. But I would always try to not to fall on the same mistake, like, oh my God, I have a problem. So no, because I would have girlfriends once in a while. Oh, I'd like to try it and this and that. Oh, come on, no, please, no, because being both of us in a relationship, if I fall in this again, in this mistake, and you don't know what you're talking about, you know what I'm saying? But eventually, this other girl convinced me to do it again. But here's the deal. I did it. This is the stupidest stuff ever. You know what the outcome will be. Why
It's
would I do it
insanity.
again, right? But yeah, I did it with this girl. But I promised myself, but I will never let you touch it again. Because then it gets kind of a problem. Yeah, like in this situation, was really like, oh, am I the one getting you into it? And so in that stuff, I managed to maintain that stuff, but not myself. You know,
Mm.
I could keep her from using, but yeah, I started going by myself a couple of times, and I developed a hell of a problem again. So, I'm saying, I really built a huge problem for myself. And like you were saying, the selling TVs or selling this or selling this, that for me, I can relate because we were living together, and when we broke up, everything that I had in the house, ooh, mama, yeah, especially after being, heartbroken and
Yeah.
not having nothing to hold on to, you just let go of everything,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was kind of crazy. So what I'm trying to pass you on is that I went deep on it, right?
Yeah.
Or in it. It took me a while to get out of it. I managed to get out of it, and that takes me to that time I was in the hospital, and why, when I woke up of a coma, even though I was clean for 5 years already, because I lost memory and all that stuff. I don't know. I had some sort of a big confusion in my head waking up, and I thought, "Oh my God, I messed up again." That was my
Mm.
first thought. But you know what? It was after that you know it's not only the being clean. It was like it was the first time I was willing to spiritually trying to cleanse, and yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at now. Now I'm already, I don't know, maybe 5 years or four before I had the stroke, and now I've been 5 years after the stroke, I guess. So I'm
So you've
close
been
to
clean.
10
You've been
years.
clean for about. So you've been sober for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Congratulations, bro. That's crazy. That's a
Yeah.
miracle.
But you know what? Let me tell you something that you probably won't like. But I got so, I don't know. I really don't feel that connected to any of it. I don't think about it because before I used to struggle with it.
Mhm.
So here's the deal. Nowadays, in New Year's Eve or whatever, I might drink a little. I know you shouldn't do that, but it's like, hey, everyone is oh, let's, how do you say, what's the name? Let's
A toast.
a toast. Oh my god. Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah, bro.
yeah,
And that is perfectly okay for you. And you know what? When I was in Orange County, so the recovery community is huge in Orange County, California. I mean, it's giant. I knew just a couple people that were able to go back after everything they had done and then go back and be able to drink like a gentleman, so they say.
yeah. I know a
Or
couple
just
too.
smoke a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
weed. But 99.9% of all of the people I
Exactly.
know, the only way to have true success is by 100% abstinence from drugs and alcohol.
Yeah. I get you, and I agree. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why this conversation that we're having, and for the ones out there at home, like I was saying, and like I was telling Will, and I don't know if I went deep on that conversation of the laws of the universe and all that stuff. I still look at it with such respect because I know that those 12 steps, was what worked at the end of years and years trying. So yeah, that would be kind of the message I would leave, and I guess you too. But I'm trying to make your words mine in that sense, because I completely agree. The best way is to go 100% clean and never get back at it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll also add this. Some people are sicker than others.
Oh
What
yeah,
does that mean? That means that, while some people may be able to go back and smoke weed one day, it's not black and white, and that general rule does not apply for everyone. So I would say for anyone who is currently struggling with drugs or alcohol, to reach out and try to get some help. And if you can get your hands on an AA or NA book, read the first 60 pages, because that will help you to identify whether this is something that you think you have or you don't. Because at the end of the day, no one can tell you that you have a problem except for you. But here are
Facts.
here are the general indicators of you having a problem. How are the relationships in your life? How's things going at your job? And how's things going inside your heart? If you honestly answer those, and all three of those are negative due to your drinking, your drugging,
100%.
it might be time to reach a hand out, because I promise you there is a whole world of people who are willing and ready to help you get through this process. Me being one.
Yeah, 100%. And I'd like to kind of double down on what you're saying and leave kind of the same message and saying the same stuff to any of you guys out there. Well, especially I'm going to say again what we were saying the last time. It's kind of cool that we kind of look around us and we kind of see that these new generations are kind of taking a different path in life. I mean, they have other problems for sure, but I'd like to say the same stuff as Will. Yeah, if you feel like you need any kind of help, try to reach out to Will or me. No problem. Any, you find me easily on social media. I don't know about you, Will, but yeah.
Yeah, so I am on YouTube at Deal with Will. And the Instagram is the same thing, Deal with Will. So you can find me pretty easy. My email is located in like in the description or bio of my channel page on YouTube. So yeah, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. If you have a loved one who you might have questions about, if they're struggling, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation and talk. I'd be willing.
Oh, 100%. And before I let you have a few words to for us to wrap this up, let me just talk to my audience and ask you guys, hey, check out Will's content. He's also a bit into martial arts. He's a cool YouTuber. I really like his content. So if you're a bit into it or simply into supporting, that means a lot too. So yeah, man, just look him up and subscribe. And yeah, man, that's about it. But I'm gonna leave you, let you having or leaving people with your message today, if you want.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I definitely appreciate that message to the fans. Yeah, I have a new channel. It's actually an old channel, but I've just started uploading content over the last 6 or 7 weeks. So it would help me out a ton if you guys would come cruise over and subscribe. I mostly do martial arts, but Omen has enticed me on some of this recovery stuff and real life conversations, which I'm also very into. So that's why we're doing this today. But man, my overall message that I would leave everyone with is that if I can do it, you can do it. And I know that sounds so cliche, but guys, you have to understand that at one point in my life, I lived to use. I had no goals, and I was headed on a track to prison or death. And I know hundreds, maybe even thousands of other people just like me who have recovered. Now, whether it's mental stuff, mental health, drug addiction, overeating, it really doesn't matter. There is a solution. And I believe that we have found that solution. So if you'd be more interested, I'd love to talk more.
All right, brother. So if this is it for you, let me just say goodbye to these guys, and you too, if you want to. Do you want to say goodbye first?
Yeah, no, it was. Thanks for having me on, bro. I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully we do this sometime again soon. It was great talking to you.
100%. But don't hang up this time, because I'm still gonna talk to you. I just wanna say to these guys, yeah, thank you guys for being around. You know how it goes. Like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I'll see you guys on the next one.